It's the second half of an ARCA Menards Series weekend doubleheader in the Buckeye State. The Menards 200 round 5 of the Sioux Chief Showdown. Toledo Speedway, a lot of fun that was had last night by all the competitors. Sam Mayer won the event. And today we have been battling a little bit of a fury from Mother Nature. It rained earlier today, but right now not raining at Toledo Speedway. We are hopeful to get all 200 laps in today, but we will pay attention to what the rain is in the area. Hello, everybody. I am Bob Diller. Alongside of me, my buddy Jim Trado. And last night, Wisconsin's own Sam Mayer went to victory lane, his first victory in the ARCA Menards Series. What did that mean to that young teenager?
Well, Bob, he finished second in the most recent 2 rounds in the Sioux Chief Showdown, so he was close, but he hadn't led like he did last night in the ARCA Menards Series. He's the ARCA East champion from a year ago, dominated there, struggled to find pace at the end of races until last night when he went home with the trophy.
The Sioux Chief Showdown is a series within the ARCA Menards Series with a lot on the line. It consists of 10 overall races on short tracks and a road course.
Some really cool racetracks we get to go to. This is within the 20-race ARCA Menards Series schedule. We get to go to some really cool joints like Phoenix. We're racing with IndyCar. We're racing with NASCAR National Series on great racetracks all across the country. Those 10 races are paying out nearly $1 million in prize money just in this 10-race series.
Started off at Phoenix. Chandler Smith went to victory lane there, and then he followed it up in round number 2 at Lucas Oil Raceway outside of Indianapolis. Ty Gibbs scored the big win at Iowa, and last night Sam Mayer finally got the deal done with a victory in the ARCA Menards Series. Sam Mayer in that 21 passing Chandler Smith and then going on to the victory at Toledo Speedway.
Once we went under the lights, Sam Mayer was lights out last evening here at Toledo.
And here is a look at the Sioux Chief Showdown point standings. Definitely a little bit of a mix now. In the top 5, Chandler Smith, he lost some ground. Still the point leader, but Michael Self and Ty Gibbs closing in.
Yeah, Smith struggled last night, finished 11th, and Self climbed up, Ty Gibbs climbed up, and Sam Mayer has gained quite a bit now, up to 8 points out of the lead here after 4 rounds.
So, Jim, we see some of the track drying going on by some of the vehicles from the ARCA Menards Series. How does this affect the teams preparing for a 200-lap race today?
Well, the teams knew yesterday before the start of the race last evening that we were going to move things up to the daytime. High noon start was the expected time. They got in here at 8 o'clock this morning. They knew they had to get the agenda right. They wanted to get their primary cars right. They had to change things they wanted to change, whether it be oil or perhaps the brake pads. There's heavy braking here at Toledo Speedway. They could do all of that this morning before presenting. They did not have to go back through the tech line if they presented the same car they raced last night. However, some teams opted to do that. So they went through the procedures and forms, and about 11:30 we saw cars rolling here to the quarter mile. So they're kind of in that same mode and mindset, but now we're all in this holding pattern. You see the dark spots on the race surface? That's the quarter mile track. Well, here's a bigger view of what we're looking at. There's just a bunch of little spots of moisture from that morning rain this morning.
And this has improved over the course of the last 10 minutes or so. We're seeing a lot more gray on this paved track. And speaking of Toledo Speedway, it wasn't originally scheduled on the ARCA Menards Series, but then with everything with this pandemic that all Americans are facing, we were able to come here twice, 2 consecutive nights, and this place is downright fast. A half-mile paved oval with some bankings in the corners.
Yeah, that really holds the speed. We're talking about 130 miles per hour on the straightaways. They zip around this place, and there's a lot of turn. Not a lot of straightaway here, so getting the car to handle in the corners is going to be paramount. Last time we saw cars get what they got in the restarts and then kind of leveled off. A lot of crew chiefs spent a little time sleeping, not a lot last night, trying to figure out this place.
The unique thing about Toledo Speedway is that the bottom groove or the top groove, there's no real preference depending on how your car is handling. We saw that last night between, say, Haley Deegan and Brett Holmes. They went around this racetrack side by side for many laps.
And I also saw the winning pass we saw briefly in our Sioux Chief Showdown lowdown, where Sam Mayer made a great move off the bottom of turn 2, got inside of the race leader at the time, Chandler Smith, and made a pass by the time they got to turn 3. That happened in about 3.5 seconds time.
Qualifying for today's event was held yesterday at Toledo Speedway. In fact, just one qualifying session. Lap 1 was for yesterday's race, lap 2 for today's race. And on lap number 2 yesterday, Ty Gibbs was able to score the General Tire Pole Award for today's event.
Yeah, front row starts for both races for Ty Gibbs, who was actually very dejected last night after running well, but did not lead a lap last evening here at Toledo Speedway. But he'll start from the pole position today, earning the General Tire pole in qualifying.
Ty Gibbs had one shot yesterday, and it came on a late race restart with Sam Mayer, and then Mayer squeezed him a little bit going down the backstretch.
Well, Sam Mayer had the choice of lane. He was leading at the time, and Ty Gibbs actually started outside of Sam, and I got to give credit to Sam Mayer. He had an excellent restart both times that he had a challenge by Ty Gibbs. Ty just did not have enough grip on the outside at the moment he needed it, and Sam cleared him by the backstretch both times.
The third member of our broadcast team today on MAV TV is Dave Reef, and he's out there dodging some raindrops a little bit earlier. What are the teams showing and telling you right now, Dave?
Team's just anxious to get this race going, see what we can get done today here in this second half of the doubleheader at Toledo. There's the pole sitter for today. The pole sitter for yesterday was Chandler Smith, this JBL Toyota, making the quickest lap and dominating much of the early race, but we saw problems with that car develop. We all thought it was in the left front, but actually after talking with Chandler and the team, it actually was the right side sway bar that caused all of those problems. Problems, though, that they assured me have been fixed. And the man who looked like he could have been on his way to that third Sioux Chief Showdown win yesterday is going to have another crack at it today. How frustrating, how good was your race car before the problems set in?
Very frustrating is still an understatement, man. It was heartbreaking, to be honest. It seems like first time I ever came here 3 years ago, we were leading the race, had a plug wire come loose, and then right front tire went down and rubbed the sway bar off. So that was my first ever race here, and felt like we should have won that one. Then second race we ever came back, which was last year, we put it together. But yesterday, obviously, it just seems like this track doesn't really like us, you know what I mean? But I think we have a number 20 JBL Toyota Camry pretty good for today. It's just hopefully the rain will hold off. Hopefully that we can make it to lap 100 just to get a complete race, you know what I mean? So I think we'll be pretty good today, just like we were yesterday. We're obviously going to be racing on a green racetrack, so everybody's going to be fighting the same thing we fight, and I think that's where our strong suit's going to be.
You were on the inside yesterday at the start as the pole sitter. Today you're going to be on the outside. How do you approach these early laps with the eye in the sky and with your starting position?
Wide open. Every single lap's a qualifying lap.
No eye on the sky, just get out there and try to lead like you did early yesterday?
Yes, sir. The good Lord wants us to race. We'll race today. If not, it looks like we'll be around here for another while. You know what I mean? So.
Certainly disappointed last night, but renewed vigor. Chandler Smith's going to come back with a vengeance today. That's the plan.
One thing about Chandler Smith in his 3 attempts here at Toledo Speedway, Jim, he has been very fast in all of them. And rain did help him 1 year ago when it started raining after lap 150, and he was recorded as the winner of this event.
And that dominating performance last year, he was hoping for the very same thing last night, but somehow, some way, right after lap 100, that's when Sam Mayer made the approach and made the pass and pulled away from that young driver. Chandler disappointed how the car ended tonight, but in reality, he was chasing that car the second half of the race, trying to get the speed. There was that one race break with 50 laps left in the race. Chandler made the change, but things went south quickly after that for him, and he faded back to 11th at the finish.
You mentioned Sam Mayer. Big win. I want to know, Dave Reef, the morning after, how is Sam Mayer feeling?
Oh, come on, let's be honest, Bob Dillner. You win a race, you go out, you celebrate, you throw a lot of confetti in the air, you might have a fun time here or there. Not so for you. How did you spend last night after getting that first win, Sam?
Well, I probably shouldn't say this because my trainer's probably watching, but I went to Burger King and had some chicken nuggets. And then
Nuggets?
Yeah, and then I went to bed. So that's all the celebrating I did.
You had to keep it sensible, though. You only went with the 6-piece, right? You didn't go with the big 20-piece or anything like that, did you?
I had the 6-piece. Small and just needed a snack because I was really hungry. Then I went right to bed. I was cold. I was ready to go to bed.
How did you sleep last night? Did you have dreams of what it was like and getting that win and reliving it?
Yeah, I was just trying to enjoy the sleep, trying to get rested up for today, and dreaming about winning again today. So hopefully I can go do that.
We're going to let him get back to business here as we work on some microphone issues here. But that's last night's winner, Sam Mayer. Guys, we were saying finally for so long. Well, finally became last night.
And the funny story, Dave Reef, is last night I did see him at the hotel, and he did have a little bit to eat after that race, but then he went right up to his room and went to bed. But when we got in the elevator, I did look at him, Jim, and I said, finally. And he goes, I know, right? I've been so close, but have never been able to get that victory. And he feels like that weight has been lifted off his shoulders.
And he's committed to the Sioux Chief Showdown. So we'll see him at the road course. He's excited about that. He's had a road racing background in karting as well as Legends cars at Charlotte. I think he won the winter showdown there, the winter shootout they've had. So he's eager to get on the road course there, which will kick off that weekend in a couple of weeks here on MAV. He's looking forward to that. He's not old enough, though, to race at Michigan. So these short track races and the tracks up to 1.25 miles, we're going to go to Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway in St. Louis. He's going to look forward to that. He should have maybe won that one last year, so that'll be a redemption run for him. But that win behind him now, Bob, changes everything. We saw how much it changed Brett Holmes just 2 races ago by winning his first race. This is the first time since 2018 we've had back-to-back first-time winners, and I'm thinking we might have another one here this afternoon.
And, Jim, the good news is we're told that drivers are starting to begin to be called to their race cars here. All those race cars lined up on the inside quarter mile around this half-mile facility. Michael Self in the Sinclair number 25. He is the point leader overall for the ARCA Menards series. Taylor Gray in that 17, another top 5 finish for him one night ago. But Ty Gibbs, runner-up spot. He didn't look all too pleased after finishing second. He wants to add his name to the list of winners here at Toledo Speedway in ARCA Menards Series competition. Just 4 years ago, it was Harrison Burton getting to victory lane, but it was Chandler Smith earlier this year at Phoenix as well as LOR. Plenty of people hoping to continue that winning streak here today in Toledo.
Ty Gibbs got it done in Iowa, and last night it was Sam Mayer winning a Sioux Chief Showdown event.
Welcome back to Toledo Speedway, where the ARCA Menards series is hoping to do battle in the Menards 200. Track drying underway here. Showers earlier today. Mother Nature threatening all around us. But teams are preparing for war today in the second round of a doubleheader. First time the ARCA Menards series has done a doubleheader in more than a decade. You see a stellar list of cars and drivers. There is Haley Deegan, comes into this particular race up there in the point standings right now, still looking for her first ARCA Menards Series victory. Last night, she was running in the top 5 and faded late in the going.
Yeah, ended up 8th, and she also lost the share of the point lead for the Bounty Rookie Challenge. So this is her redemption night, if you will, to get this car right. Her crew has gone to work on this car. DGR Crosley has been really strong on the short tracks. We know how strong they can be on the super speedways as well. So her full season, really tonight, will be another building block towards that. Her 8th place finish was one of her poorer finishes of the season. Just something didn't click those last 50 laps last night that she's going to try to overcome. One thing about being a rookie, though, we talked to Taylor Gray about this. I've talked to Haley Deegan about this. The ability to repeat the next day, that same racetrack, getting in the car and fixing and even overcoming the mistakes from one night prior is a huge advantage for these young drivers who don't have much practice time. We had a practice yesterday, but we haven't had any today. Very few times we've had practice all year or qualifying. So they're really getting in race mode without any much real laps before that. So this will help Haley with the 200 laps last night, getting back in the car, making the changes they need with her and her team to get it right for today on that Ford Monster Ford.
If you didn't see last night's race live on MAV TV for the ARCA Menards series, let's take a look at the Lucas Oil race recap from one day ago, and it turned to nighttime hours a little bit later on. Chandler Smith dominated for a long time, then late in the race, Sam Mayer was very strong in that 21. He was able to pass Chandler Smith. Smith with troubles. The sway bar on the right front, the mount broke on that machine. He was relegated to an 11th place run. Ty Gibbs tried to catch that 21, couldn't do it. Sam Mayer able to take his first checkered flag in the ARCA Menards series. And here's a look at the point standings coming into today's race for this series. Michael Self, he finished 5th last night. Brett Holmes able to gain 1 point on him in the race for the championship.
Yeah, Holmes finished 4th. I mean, every position is a point, and that matters right now. It matters all season long. Holmes is closing in on Self. Gained 1 last night.
We're ready to fire engines today at Toledo Speedway, and to do that, we have another NASCAR star that will deliver the command. So for the most famous words in racing, here is Matt DiBenedetto.
Hey, I'm Matt DiBenedetto, driver of the Menards number 21 Ford in the NASCAR Cup Series. Welcome to Toledo Speedway for tonight's Menards 200. On behalf of all Menards employees, vendor partners, and suppliers, we invite you to sit back and enjoy the race. Now, drivers, start your engines.
There you hear some of the engines fired in the quarter mile where they have the cars right now. Michael Self, the point leader for the ARCA Menards series, Can he get to victory lane? 2 races here at Toledo, 2 top 5 finishes for him in his career. This kid is hungry. He's won 3 of the last 5 ARCA races he has competed in. Talking about teenager Ty Gibbs. We go inside the cockpit with him as he prepares for this 200-lap race today at Toledo Speedway. We're expecting a green flag next here in Ohio.
The ARCA Menards Series is brought to you by General Tire. Anywhere is possible. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper. And by Menards. Save big money at Menards.
It's the 10th race of the season for the ARCA Menards Series drivers in their race cars. The Menards 200, round 5 of the Sioux Chief Showdown today at Toledo Speedway. We've been on a threat of rain all day long, sprinkled earlier. The track is now dry, and here is the starting lineup for today's 200-lap battle. Ty Gibbs, the General Tire Pole Award winner with Chandler Smith, yesterday's Pole Award winner, on the outside. Sam Mayer, last night's winner, will start on the inside of row number 2. Drew Dollar, who leads the Bounty Rookie Challenge Rookie of the Year title right now, will start on the outside of row 2.
Brett Holmes finished 4th last night. He'll line up inside the original Gourmet Lollipops number 22 of Derek Griffith in his second run here at Toledo Speedway. His first came last night. We'll see how he builds on the notebook from last evening.
Haley Deegan still 4th in the series standings. Starts 7th. Taylor Gray, 3 top 5s in his first 3 ARCA starts. Watch this kid today.
He has been impressive. Thad Moffitt had an electrical issue last night. Not many laps in. He'll start from 10th tonight. He comes into this race 5th in points in the 46.
Point leader Michael Self will start 9th. Brad Smith, back in the 14th spot, is in the 10th slot in the championship standings right now. And then there's Austin Green in the number 74. Giovanni Bramani was the driver last night. There has been a driver change with that team. So now Austin Green, the son of David Green, former Busch Series champion, now behind the wheel of that race car. There is Sam Mayer, the General Tire onboard camera for today's race. Can he go 2 in a row at Toledo Speedway? He's been pretty good so far this year here at Toledo in an East race. He ran in the runner-up spot back in June. Michael Self in the number 25, the point leader. He's on board with the Sioux Chief camera here today. We hope to have good shots from both of those vehicles for 200 total laps today at Toledo.
And Michael Self was doing more than just warming the tires up during the race last night. He was fighting that wheel, it looked like a lot, on corner exit off of turn number 4. Not the best of nights, but for Michael Self, a 5th place finish is not a good night. He's in championship form. If he can continue knocking off top 5s, it's good, but not good enough for him. He wants another victory right soon after that Daytona victory to start the season.
So, Jim, here are your keys. Why are these important in today's race?
Well, last night we saw Sam Mayer really get an aggressive restart that got him the position to gap the field. I believe that is going to be where he wants to be. I say not too tight. You don't want the car too tight because these corners are so long. You want to have a little bit of free. You want to have a little bit of wiggle off the corner. Get that rear end out there a little bit. You want to be having to fight the wheel and turn one more time on corner exit. And also, there's only 6 tires allowed in this race. If you want to get track position, do you take 2 tires? You don't lose any spots, but if you want to get a better jump and save your 4 for later, you can change 2 tires under a brake. You can only change tires under a brake, so you have 4 remaining. So the idea is, do you want to take the 2 early if your car is handling well? These conditions may not change a whole lot. Last night we went into the daytime and the nighttime. I'm just wondering how that may play out if the teams will make a run at taking 4 tires early if their car is a bit off.
Brett Holmes, 2nd in the series standings. Holmes, the big winner at Kansas. He certainly has a little pep in his step this weekend. Good top 5 run for him last night at Toledo. His 2nd top 5 run at this racetrack in ARCA competition. Ty Gibbs, he won the East race in June here at Toledo, which kicked off the East schedule.
And Ty has been so dominant in this series, the ARCA Menards series. He has actually turned of age now. He's going to turn 18 in October to match his car number. But at 17 years of age, he was able to race this year at Kentucky Speedway and at the Tricky Triangle Pocono Raceway and won both of those races in his debut on those big tracks. We saw Chandler Smith just a couple years ago make that same transition in the ARCA Menards series under the age of 18, getting those big track experiences, and that's propelled Chandler now into a part-time truck series opportunity with Kyle Busch Motorsports.
Lights are off on the pace car. That means we are going racing at Toledo, something that we didn't know if we would have done just about an hour ago.
And you know what? These teams will be fighting for grip. This track is green. There was enough moisture on here, a little bit of ponding going on, but that's all gone away now. We got the track dry, and we're going green flag racing at Toledo. Can't wait.
The question is, with threatening skies all around, will this be a race to the halfway point? We'll keep an eye on that in the early stages, but some of these drivers might be charging hard at Toledo today. Day number 2 for the ARCA Menards series at Toledo Speedway. We're set for the green flag with Ty Gibbs and Chandler Smith on the front row. Aggressive racing here on the opening lap. Track position so key here. Can Chandler Smith move by the 18? Taylor Gray with trouble. Taylor Gray spins down in turn number 2. Yellow flag is out. Who was ahead? That's the big question. That was a ferocious battle for the lead. Taylor Gray, he stops on the racetrack for the first caution. We didn't have a caution until about the lap 75 mark yesterday or last night here at Toledo Speedway for the first race break.
Taylor Gray started in the 8th position. That would be outside row number 4. And you saw how aggressive our 2 leaders were? Man, it was crazy throughout the entire field trying to fight for race position on these opening circuits.
Bad break for Taylor Gray, the 15-year-old. Having a stellar run early in his career, just 3 races in, a 3rd place run one night ago.
What's great about this kid is he's fast, he's comfortable, and I asked him point blank, I said, how much do you know and how much don't you know? Because you've had 2 top 5 finishes before this weekend, and he finished with a 3rd place last night. He said, I'm just getting comfortable with the car. Blake Brainbridge and I are clicking. My crew chief and I, he puts it under me. I do what I can. And at the age of 15, he's given that feedback to keep that consistent fast speeds. Don't know exactly what happened here on the initial start to get him spun around.
So we're in the booth. Dave Reef, he's out in the elements. What's the skies telling you right now, Dave Reef?
I don't want to tell you guys, to be 100% honest. The rain that was kind of sprinkling as the green flag came out, and that's why we saw a lot of that aggressive racing between Chandler Smith and Ty Gibbs, perhaps contributing to the spin of Taylor Gray as well. But those drizzles, that sprinkle, it's starting to turn into a light rain here. So things are not looking good at the moment, though, subject to change at a moment's notice. That's the weather.
That's Mother Nature for you, that's for sure. 4 laps into this race, and Ty Gibbs and Chandler Smith, they seem to be discussing who might have the lead here, quite honestly. I think Chandler Smith might think he was out front. Ty Gibbs thinks he was the same. Those 2 were already swapping paint in the opening laps of this race. But the key is get to that lead, because it is difficult to pass here at times, especially if you have long green flag runs.
That's how hard. That's why Chandler Smith was racing as hard as he was, trying to get position. If he gets the lead, he also gets lane choice, which means he will likely take the inside on the restart. Only the leader or race restart leader will get that choice. Ty Gibbs started on the inside to start this event. Chandler raced him really hard. I couldn't tell you who led that last lap before they figured out who was going to be our restart leader, and it looks like now the 18 has gotten the nod behind our pace car camera here. And the ARCA Menards Series, ARCA Menards Series 200, Menards 200 logo on the door. I like this view. I don't like what's on the rear spoiler, though.
Yeah, I don't like the wet drops there. We do like the Menards decal for sure, but just not the wet stuff that's on that spoiler for the pace car here today. Sam Mayer in 3rd, staying under caution right now because the track is taking on a little bit of water. It's a little bit wet here, so we're going to try to keep the cars on the racetrack to make sure that this track stays dry as much as possible.
And you know what? A heavy, hot race car is the best jet dryer you can have at a short track. So keep them out there as long as you can. And their teams are now being told to idle around here for a little while.
There's the view out Sam Mayer's windshield today here at Toledo. We'll update you when we come back live on MAV TV from Toledo Speedway. Welcome back to Ohio. The Menards 200 for the ARCA Menards Series today under a rain delay. Rain earlier this morning. We got to green for a couple of laps, and then The rains came down again. A little bit of a sprinkle right now. Ty Gibbs, the leader of this race. Ty Gibbs, runner-up spot one night ago. Dave Reef is standing by with him.
Well, not exactly what we wanted to do, Ty. If your mask happened to be hanging out with you inside of there?
My PR.
It's at the PR folks real quick. Well, we'll keep our distance.
Just give me later. I'll just go get it. I
Okay.
don't want to get in trouble.
Okay. No problem at all. That's Ty Gibbs, who continues to be the race leader. The rain cover's coming on all of these race cars right now as the rain continues to pick up down here a little bit, guys.
And there is Owen Smith, the late model stock car driver out of Virginia. And Andy Hillenberg is his team owner. Andy Hillenberg has meant so much to this particular series throughout the years, both as a driver and as a car owner. And we offer our condolences to the entire Hillenberg family as Andy lost his mom.
Yeah, his mom, Willie Yeager, passed away yesterday. She was just a great lady. And Andy, think about this. Andy has gotten to drive in the Daytona 500, in the Indy 500, and has been a supporter here in ARCA, not only as a winning owner, but he also won the championship as a driver here in 1995. So having him involved with 2, 3, 4 cars per race has meant the world. He was given the John Markham Award for his dedication to ARCA, the highest award given at the awards banquet just a few seasons ago. So our thoughts are certainly with Andy Hillenberg and giving drivers like Owen Smith an opportunity here. This is the 8th different driver that Andy's brought to this team this year. So that's another great way to say, let's introduce these drivers to ARCA and have some fun and go racing. And Andy, we're thinking about you and your family here today.
Andy has 3 cars in today's race. You see all those cars are covered up right now. As Dave Reef mentioned, the rain's coming down just a little bit. There was Brett Holmes walking through the shot. We just saw Drew Dollar, the leader in the Rookie of the Year standings so far this year in ARCA.
Yeah, Brett Holmes is walking to his car with conviction. It looks like he may have a radio issue. Andy Holder with Racing Electronics is trying to get the attention to perhaps check over the connections there. So as much as things are going right for Brett Holmes, he wants to make sure during this break he can maybe get something looked at with his radio in his car.
Michael Self is the point leader coming into this race. He's now standing by with Dave.
We talked about the veteran presence that this driver has. Been here for so many years, so many wins. I know you want more wins. Daytona's the only one on the calendar so far, but this mentality that you have, the ability to fight back, the ability to pull out a good finish despite problems, how valuable is that experience playing out right now?
It's definitely been, it's paid off the last couple of weeks. It's not the runs that we want by any means. I mean, we've fought a ton of problems the last couple of weeks. The frustrating thing is it's been some of my best tracks. Kansas, Iowa, we had some big issues there, and last night just weren't where we wanted to be, and still managed a 5th place, which that's not terrible. But we're not running where we should be right now. We feel like we should be racing up. We shouldn't be losing sight of the leaders. Definitely shouldn't be a risk of going a lap down, I don't think. So we've all got to do a better job, and that includes me and with my driving. And we made a lot of changes overnight to see if we could get better here. And I appreciate the guys doing that. We're all putting our heads together and doing what we can. Seeing if we can make progress on it. That's all we can do, right? So you just got to keep a cool head and just try and do the best you can with what you got.
Well, and you've been doing just that, but you have to absolutely be encouraged. You've got a powerhouse team behind you, a bunch of smart guys. They're going to figure it out.
Yeah, I never question anyone over at Venturini Motorsports. I mean, Billy, Shannon, Kevin. I mean, we've got such great leadership over there. Guys that obviously build really, really good cars. You saw how the 20 ran last night. Obviously, they were really, really strong. Had a little bit of trouble there late, but I think we're going in the right direction. I don't know if people understand how much they've changed from a rule standpoint this year. We're over 100 horsepower less than we were. They've taken a lot away from the mechanical side of the cars and a lot of stuff that ARCA's had for a couple of years now, and that stuff's kind of thrown us for a loop. I feel personally like the people that have a lot of K&N experience from the past couple of years, this is kind of playing into their hand because the car is so much more like a K&N car has been in the West and East Series as far as the rules package goes. So you see the DGRs, you see guys like the 21, Marty and them obviously have a lot of K&N experience. Guys that have run for championships and stuff, and we just don't have that notebook. So we'll keep working at it. I mean, with all that being said, we have struggled at the places where we run the Ilmore too on the big tracks, and that just comes down to us having to fix things and figure it out, man. There's no other excuse. We just got to figure it out.
Michigan, Daytona, coming up. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Michigan's probably my favorite track left on the schedule this year, and obviously Daytona's. I couldn't be more excited for a road course. I mean, I thought that they were going to find a way to take it away from me again this year. I've been trying to run a road course in ARCA for years now, and I couldn't believe when they said that we were going to lose Watkins Glen as well. You know, that was like heartbreaking for me. So I got to go to Daytona every year with the Mike Cope guys in the Trans Am TA2 series. You know, have a lot of experience in that place. Really interesting. They added the chicane. You know, that'll be kind of unique deal there, and I'm excited. I'm excited for these tracks that we're going to, places where we've run well. We just got to use our experience at those places to try and get our program better and get our race cars faster.
Still 94 laps of unfinished business here. We'll let you keep dry here. We'll hopefully see you back in the race car here shortly.
I hope so.
That's your point leader. Michael Self continues to put finishes on the board. And Jim Trader, that's what you got to do if you want to win a championship.
Yeah, and on paper, Michael Self winning that Daytona, the Lucas Oil 200 to start the year on the big oval, but he's a road racer. He's going to looking forward to going back to Daytona and analyzing every corner. He driver coaches those TA2 drivers. He'll actually do it, if time allows, this coming weekend at Road America before heading over to Michigan to race. So, and Michigan, hey, he's won there. I mean, he's really good at the big tracks. He's really good on the road courses. This is fitting into Michael Self's time to shine, I think, for this schedule. He mentioned a lot of changes, Bob. A lot of things going on for these teams. There's a lot of parity going on to meld the ARCA East and ARCA West together with the ARCA Menards series. He mentioned there's different combinations. There's choices to be made based upon what the teams have in their garage to save them some money, but also choices to be made based upon what they think is best for them at a given racetrack. Benner Union Motorsports has gone to a 2-car operation for the ARCA East series, as well as 3 or 4 here in the ARCA Menards series. He mentioned DGR Crosley. They've had success in the NASCAR East and West. They also have had cars racing in the ARCA Menards series. So there's a matter of what you have in that inventory to put the best use based upon the rules package now.
And this came about after NASCAR acquired ARCA last year. And ARCA series officials continue to try to make sure that the playing field is level. And they've done a great job to make that as close as it possibly can between what once was noted as the Can-Am East and West car and the ARCA car over here. Very similar, but still a little bit of a difference between the two, and the parity between the field is getting closer and closer.
And drivers like Ty Gibbs and Sam Mayer had a full season last year in the ARCA Menards Series East, so that may play into a factor. They raced here in June for the ARCA Menards Series East. We didn't plan on running Toledo Speedway as part of this series schedule until things change. We got a doubleheader in replacement of Mid-Ohio and Elko Speedway on this schedule.
We'll be at Michigan International in Brooklyn, Michigan, that is, next Sunday, and then off to Daytona International with the road course the week after that. There was Ty Gibbs.
The Chevy bow tie in the back of that uniform was actually Sam Mayer. So we talk about how much they race together. They want to compare notes right now.
You know, the interesting thing is we were joking about this, this morning, about last night. At one point in the race last night, Ty Gibbs, Sam Mayer, they were both in the top 5. You had Haley Deegan and Chandler Smith there. And then you had Brett Holmes. And Brett Holmes was the oldest driver in the top 5. Speaking of Brett Holmes, look at that. Cue Brett Holmes and he walks through the screen.
By 5 years.
23 years old, the oldest driver in the top 5 at one point last night.
Yeah, and I think he's on a mission to get what he needs to get done. These guys have a time to chat. And it's neat to see the youth here, but also they're learning. And we got veteran guys in the pits. I mean, Marty Lindley's crew chiefing for Sam Mayer. We've got Mark McFarland. They were teammates at MDM Motorsports, who set the world on fire just a couple years ago in the ARCA Menards Series when Sheldon Creed went on to win a championship with their efforts. They keep in contact, so the communication flows. But when you have that veteran leadership and you've got a spotter like Hal Martin for Ty Gibbs, who used to race in this series and had an interest from Dodge and ownership and teams in the East Series, and you've got a spotter like Lauren Ranier, who's done so many things. He brought Tony Stewart into the world of stock car racing and on through a number of drivers. Lauren Ranier's on his headset telling him things to do. He spotted for Jamie McMurray in the Daytona 500 just a few months ago, or a year ago now, I guess it is. But Lauren has that ability to bring that. What else do we see? What are the other drivers doing? That leadership in the headset can change a driver's mindset and confidence quickly. With that veteran leadership on the pit box and the spotter stand, I think is a huge asset for these teams here in the ARCA Menards Series and these young drivers.
And that's what you got to love about the Sioux Chief Showdown as well. It really features the younger drivers, 15 and above, of course, but you can't get on the big tracks or most of the big tracks in ARCA until you're 18 years old. We'll update you on what's going on here at Toledo when we come back to the Menards 200.
You can't fake greatness. Not on the track and not in the chip aisle. Like a seasoned driver behind the wheel, Hers chips take you from caution flag levels of hunger to checkered flag feelings of satisfaction. When it comes to race day snacks, the signature crunch and endless flavors of Hers leaves the competition in a pile of chip dust. Don't settle for anything less than the champions of the chip aisle. Hers, forever good. Available at Menards.
Still under a rain delay for the ARCA Menards series at Toledo Speedway. Ty Gibbs, the leader early in this one, looking for his 4th victory in the series this year. Chandler Smith in that 2nd spot for Venturini Motorsports. Man, came so close to really getting this one underway. Rain soured the area earlier this morning, and then right as we got 2 laps into this one, the rain came down once again.
Yeah, Taylor Gray had a spin in turn 2, which brought out the caution, and then the clouds opened soon after. But, man, it was a hard-fought run there.
It was.
The front row, it was fun to watch. And watching, and it really was a matter of staying in front, trying to get a lead, and then if something happened, you'd have that choice. You'd have that lane. You had the ability to restart the race as the leader, and they fought hard. Chandler Smith gave him a great run on the outside.
And I really think, honestly, everybody looking to those skies, it was going to be a race for 100 halfway through this one today, and that's why I think everybody was racing so hard. Ty Gibbs, the leader, early in this one, Dave, but still raining, I'm sure.
We have found an awning. That is good. He has found his face mask. I'm jealous of him. He's actually had some Wendy's French fries, which he did not share. And it doesn't look like you want to share that race lead. Those are some pretty spirited opening laps there with Chandler.
You know, we don't fire off as good as them every time, and then we beat them to the caution, and we were racing on their caution there. I don't know why, but we came out to the lead, and man, it would be really nice if they would cancel this deal. We go home as winners, you know, it'd be really good, but I don't think it's going to happen, but we'll see. You know, it's just raining, and hopefully we can get going here, but I just can't thank everybody else, Monster Energy, my family, everybody watching, all the fans, so hopefully we can get this race going so we can go out there and see what we got. I feel like yesterday night we weren't as good, and you know, we were a little loose, and I think we worked on things overnight. My guys worked their butts off, so we'll see what we got.
We talked about this being a new race car yesterday. Mark McFarland told me a little bit about it, built for the ARCA Menards East Series. It's kind of in the East Country right here. How much different is it from the ARCA Menards race cars that you raced and won in Iowa and other racetracks?
Yeah, you know, like, what do you mean, motor-wise?
Different? No, not motor-wise. Just does it drive? I mean, drivability. What's that like?
Drivability. You know, these guys always work their butts off. So you know, every race we kind of progressively get better and learn more things. You know, sometimes we're not as good, so we take things away from learn like that. But you know, the last couple of weeks we've been on the kill, and it's been amazing. You know, Iowa was a great race car. You know, so it's just been really good lately.
Had to watch Riley Herbst race your car. That probably had to hurt, but now you're back in your race car. You're on such a good groove right now.
Yeah, it feels so good just to get back in the race car. You know, it's good to learn and watch things and then get back in and do them. So you know, I'm excited. Hopefully, we can come out and get win number 5 of the season.
Only question is, will that win come today here in Toledo? That to be determined.
Yeah, Riley Herbst jumped in the car and finished 3rd at Kansas. This team's on a roll. They have the owner's point lead. Riley Herbst has run just 3 races this year, and Ty Gibbs has finished no worse than 3rd. However, an alternated belt issue cost him at Lucas Oil Raceway, which is one of the races in the Sioux Chief Showdown. Otherwise, he's got a very impressive 2 wins and a 2 wins and a 2nd here in the season, with 3 victories total, considering Pocono and Kentucky. Not in the Sioux Chief Showdown, but in the overall. I'm getting caught up here because this kid's had an awesome season. He really has. And finishing 2nd last night, he was disappointed with that. I mean, what can you say? This kid has just been so good and so expectant to do well, and he's performing.
By the way, you saw a shot of Menards. If it rains much more, I might go over to Menards, and I need to get some electrical equipment for the pole barn.
They've got boots, rain boots. They probably have some ponchos. They probably have some big golf umbrellas.
And by the way, if you don't have a Menards around you, you can go to Menards.com, the sponsor of last night's race here at Toledo Speedway, and order anything you would want for your home, a pole barn, or you know what. Mav TV would love being part of the ARCA Menards series, but under a rain delay right now at Toledo Speedway. Ty Gibbs, we just spoke to him, the leader of this race, just a few laps in. Chandler Smith in 2nd, Sam Mayer, Drew Dollar, and Brett Holmes rounds out the top 5. A little damp here today for the ARCA series at Toledo. Rain not being all too kind to the ARCA Menards series today at Toledo Speedway. I'm Bob Dillner, Jim Trado in the booth, as well as Dave Reeve on pit road. The cars are covered in the infield, but we did get this one underway today here in Ohio for at least a couple of laps of battle before Taylor Gray spun on the racetrack to bring out the first caution in this 200-lap main event. The area of Toledo Speedway, an industrial area, but some of the stars, the youngest and brightest stars in stock car racing, are scheduled to do battle here today.
79 races we've had here at this facility already in the ARCA Menards series. It's a great racetrack owned by Ron Drager. The Markham family has been involved in this track for a long time. This is the hometown for the ARCA Menards series, and really it's been a place that we've come to once or twice a year. I kind of missed it being off the schedule. I'm glad we're back here at this historic half mile.
Taylor Gray brought out the first caution of this event and might have had a little help as well. Dave Reeve, can you confirm?
Well, let's find out from the man himself. He was racing very hard. Everybody was. They knew the situation. They knew the rain was going to come in, and track position certainly meant everything. But take us through what happened over here in turns 1 and 2 to bring out that yellow when your car runs sideways.
Yeah, I was on the outside of my teammate, the 4 car there, and from what I've gotten told, the 25 car just kind of made an unfortunate move and a pretty erratic move in my opinion. We're 2 laps into the race and we're taking it 3 wide. So, you know what? Everything comes around, goes around, and that's happened twice. So we'll see.
Toledo, what do you think of this racetrack, though?
No, it's pretty cool. It's a small little half-mile track, so it's a little racy. You got to move people out of the way a little bit to get around them, and it's a fun little short track.
Opportunity like this gives us an opportunity to chat a little bit about being age 15, getting involved in the ARCA Menards series. How have you graded your performance so far from a personal standpoint, knowing that I know you great guys grade yourselves pretty tough?
Yeah, I don't really know what grade I'd give myself. I try to stay pretty humble. I'm trying my best out here and just keep on pushing.
You definitely make it exciting. Is it exciting in the seat? Because I know at Iowa, we pretty much count the laps where you didn't get involved with somebody. There were far fewer of those, fewer of those than contact.
Yeah, definitely.
Had to be fun.
It's interesting for sure. It's sometimes it's fun, sometimes you get the bad end of the stick, like we just saw just a little bit ago. So, not a lot of people like to get passed by me or whatever, but it's all good. We're just gonna keep trying and keep putting my best performance out.
Schedule we know through the rest of 2020. What racetrack do you most look forward going to?
Oh, man, that's a hard one. I try to like all of them, I want to win as much as possible. So I try to love every racetrack as much as possible.
Sounds like a driver's mentality there, guys. I like the racetrack that I'm at right now. That's my favorite at the moment.
Hey, he's 15 years old and doing a fantastic job behind the wheel of an ARCA Menards series stock car. And I think I really like what I heard him say. A lot of these kids are taught by their manufacturers or their sponsors to be politically correct. And he towed the line there between being very honest about what he felt as well as not saying the wrong thing. And I applaud him for that because he said, hey, listen, what comes around goes around. And he feels like he might have gotten a tap or a chain reaction tap from one particular driver that he's gone toe-to-toe with in the first 3 races of his career.
Yeah, racing in close quarters, when you're fast and you're the new kid, like he is right now, you have to earn that respect. And perhaps because the speed he's had, I don't see him driving erratically. That was an incident he detailed. His team obviously relayed to him what he thought happened. It wasn't the number 4, the car in the middle, the black 4 of his teammate that really started that. It was Michael Self trying to get aggressive to the bottom in turn 1. Tapped the 4. That got her number 4 Monster Ford of Haley Deegan up into Taylor Gray's number 17 that spun him. I just think he's even-keeled, and I've seen him at the track when he's not in the car. His brother Tanner raced at Kentucky and Daytona and other big tracks. Tanner's been there, and so is Taylor, absorbing all this, as I think he's progressing towards what we hope to see, a full schedule here before he moves into any other kind of racing, because he's learning a ton on these short tracks given the opportunity.
I'm tired of seeing covers on these race cars. So let's take a look at the opening couple of laps of this race today at Toledo Speedway with the Auto Park It replay. Ty Gibbs, Chandler Smith on the front row, and this one was a war in the opening laps.
This is the opening laps, the opening 2 turns, and you figure, okay, the inside guy, he might get the lead, get the advantage. Chandler Smith on the outside. The JBL Toyota said, no, I'm going to lead this thing. I'm going to punish my tires at the outset. Look how close they got there.
Contact.
Rubbing the General Tire names off the sidewall of those tires, trying to get position here.
So Ty Gibbs poked his nose out in front. Then Chandler Smith came charging back on the outside. This is what the ARCA Menards series is all about. The youth gone wild in the opening laps at Toledo.
This is why I like this short track. And unfortunately, Taylor Gray's spin slowed us down at this moment. But really, we saw hard punishing laps. We're going to see that throughout the race here once we get back going.
See Bill Venturini. Nice to see Bill at the racetrack. His cancer in remission. That was really good to tell everybody when we were at Lucas Oil Raceway just about a month ago.
A winner here at Toledo Speedway back in 1987, his first of 2 championship seasons. So he's had some long runs here at Toledo Speedway and some success as well, not only just as an owner, but as a driver here in the ARCA Menards Series.
All the officials conferring about what is going on here today. The intention is to get this race in. There are a lot of contingency plans and so forth, but the ARCA Menards Series officials believe that there might be some windows here today to get this race in and completed at Toledo Speedway.
And all the team tents are here. We saw Bill had his weather gear with him. I mean, all the haulers are on the backstretch outside the track. The teams are allowed to bring all their equipment inside. So we're going to get ready at a moment's notice, given the chance to get these cars fired. Their pit stalls are all, socially distanced, spaced out. There's plenty of room for these teams to work. When we go back racing, these teams will have a chance to get their cars to the pits potentially, maybe get things wiped down if nothing else. I saw them covering the cowlings as soon as they could. That's where the air inlet is at the base of the windshield. They've got that figured out and trying to wait out this rain.
ARCA believes there is a window in this weather all around the Toledo area. Their intention is to complete this race today for the ARCA Menards Series. We want to invite everybody to pay attention to the social channels of MAV TV for updates on when they can see this race. But right now, we're just waiting out the rain. There is Brett Holmes, second in the series standings, winner at Kansas. He's waiting out this rain just like everybody else. We hope to get this one in here today. Unfortunate circumstances for everybody.
We're trying to do the best we can, fans, and really the officials, when they're standing around, they're actually talking about what to do next. What can we do first to get this racetrack clean and back racing?
There you see the scene around with the seagulls in the air here at Toledo, Ohio. This racetrack, half-mile in length. We're expecting to go green a little bit later today. Again, we want to remind everybody to pay attention to the social channels for MAV TV for updates on when they will be able to see this race. Right now, we're going to actually switch over and go to some contingency programming. We're going to go back to Salem, Indiana in September of last year. A lot of fun there at Salem, the high banks, and we hope to have plenty of fun here today when we resume with racing.
Started out with a bang, and unfortunately we had a spin early, and then the rains came.
Thank you so much for joining us today at Toledo Speedway. We'll update you on social media on MAV TV.